All right. Well, should we officially start the show there, buds?
Yeah, let's do that.
All right, we're officially starting. Hey, what's up, every guys? What's up, every guys? What's up, everyone?
Up, every guy.
I think.
Hold
every
on, I'm
guys-
getting fucking berated by mosquitoes. I'm gonna go inside. I'm not gonna last.
Just when we were getting.
Hold on, every guys.
All right, hold on, every guys. You gotta finish reading the book.
I know. I put it down like a month ago, and I haven't picked it back up.
I don't know how you do that with a book like Dune. Like once you get
When
into,
I
like,
do,
the
when I
meat of
do
it-
get into it, I have to like force myself to put it down. But they only do that every couple of weeks for some reason. I just can't remember to pick it back up the next day. That's how I am with pretty much everything. I just forget. Everything is. I'm like reverse Groundhog Day for Charlie. Life keeps on going, but every day I wake up like, hi, I'm Charlie. How do I wake up? How do I eat breakfast? How
They
do
call that Alzheimer's, Charlie.
Yeah, I suppose I would be the first to suffer from that, right? After everything.
Say la vie.
I think you were born with it, to be honest with you, Charlie. You were born just like
Early onset,
the earliest of onsets.
immediate.
Immediate.
Onset.
Immediate onset Alzheimer's.
Psychosomatic Alzheimer's.
Do you guys think so? Do you think reincarnation ties in with the idea of sort of morality? And like if you do good things in this world, you would be more likely to be reincarnated as, I guess, a higher level species? Or like, I mean, there's the idea of you either get reincarnated and it's just human soul to human soul kind of transfer. Or, I believe the Buddhists believe that you could be reincarnated as, a snake or a slug or something. I don't know if I prescribe to that idea.
I think it's a little
Or are souls
like
just
that's
souls?
like kind of like an elementary thought where it's like you're taking. It's just like a little crass. You're like, well, okay, so if you're like shitty, you're gonna come back as a snail, right? What's that clip in Pineapple Express? Do you want to come back as an eagle or a dragon? Or do you want to come back as like an anal bead, right? It's like, whose anal bead? It's mine. But then the dragon. I don't think it necessarily can be so that simplified.
Well, I think based on what we talked about before, with like the recycling of life essence, it's not really much of a. And what I would think about it that direction wouldn't be much of a deciding force behind it, as much as I think your mental state might influence kind of your, what do you call it? Like limbo period. So if you like die and you're always stressed out and angry, then maybe you'll just be in a perpetual, consciousness of shittiness and anger, if you die at positive, as like someone who's been helping other people.
I'm really happy.
You'd
Quick,
be
somebody kill me.
You're more at peace.
Well, So to what you just said, Danny, I'm really happy. So somebody kill me. Like that's the. I'm pretty sure in like the 6th or 7th century, maybe 5th or 6th. That's when it was officially. Suicide was officially ruled a sin by the church because of the idea of, as soon as you die, you get to go to, eternal happiness and you are in heaven with, God and with Jesus. And they were having so many Christians just committing suicide that they had to make it a rule that, suicide is one of the deathly sins and you immediately go to hell. Which, to me, is kind of fucked up, but also not in the Bible. You guys just made that shit up because you didn't want people trying to find a shortcut to get to salvation. you know.
Yeah, well, you need the sheep to have the, manpower of the, religion superhouse that was becoming Christianity.
You know what you need? You need the sheep to have the flock.
Yeah, pretty
If
much.
you don't have the sheep,
Doesn't
you don't have
exist.
the flock. Yeah, and
You don't give a flock.
not even a single one. But yeah, like, yeah, the church does need, because I mean the church gains its power by having the flock sort of give them power. You know what I mean? It's like sort of almost similar to the way that the economy works. If people don't believe in the economy and believe in the value of the dollar, then the dollar doesn't have any value. Same thing with religion. If you don't have people believing in, what your religious quote unquote dollar is, then the whole thing collapses.
Going back to talking about Satan and satire and the similarities we find of all these pagan roots is back when early Christianity was a thing and the church was trying to grasp its power. Nice. Just trying to get all the sheep in its flock, I guess, so to say. There was all these different types of Christianities, and they were essentially just molding to the pagan rituals and of the areas, right? So they were adapting Christianity to fit their own needs, and so many of these pagan religions really adorned, horned deities and things like that, and were imploring that into their religions, and in ways that aren't necessarily dark or demonic. And so it was a lot of the churches doing that, was affiliating the devil with horns and goats and things like that, because they were extremely important and significant in a lot of pagan cultures, and were being adapted within certain Christianities as well. So then you start to see Satan from being a fallen angel to a fucking horned goat with hooves and shit like that.
Yeah, no, totally. And the idea of a physical devil isn't really talked about in the Bible at all. Lucifer, and I think there's 13 different names for Lucifer throughout the Bible, but he was never seen as a physical entity until the church started promoting it that way. And then it got even crazier, during like the satanic panic of like the 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
People freaking, and a little bit of the 70s as well. Where like, in the church's history, like most people that believed in Catholicism or Protestantism, whatever chapter, didn't necessarily believe that the devil was an incarnate physical being that was there to actually harm you. And then movies like The Exorcist and The Omen came out, and that's when a lot of these Christian fundamentalist ideas and the idea of a literal Satan, a devil, a guy with hooves is coming to fucking kill you and kill your family. Like, that wasn't really a predominant, belief of most Christians for the past over 1,000 years before that. Maybe not 1,000 years, maybe more like
demonic possession, though, has been a thing for quite a while.
Yeah, totally. That's spoken about in the Bible. Pretty extensively. But is that truly, I don't know, is that just a religious lens to describe something like somebody who has epilepsy or has schizophrenia or has all these,
or has taken way too much ergot? Yeah,
exactly. And that's maybe where the idea of witches come from.
Yeah,
necromancers.
But also, on the one hand, it's like, if you think about it esoterically, then maybe it's not so off.
Big word.
Name drop, word drop. So, like, let's say,
got a smart guy over here. We got a wicked smart guy over here dropping esoteric.
Yeah, what was my SAT score? Yeah, not a smart guy.
Esoteric. That's what your SAT score was.
I love that. Pretty much.
um,
But esoterically, let's say, somebody goes through a bout of, and this is kind of a negative term, but like a neurotic episode for whatever, it's an anxiety attack, a panic attack, about a depression that might last a bit, like whatever it is, that individual is stuck in a fucking negative loop of winding bullshit where they can't get a fucking control of their emotions. Their thoughts are over running themselves. And it's like, you have a hard time getting fucking control of yourself at times. Right. And so it's like, you look at that esoterically, I wouldn't say that you're fucking possessed or that some entity's got you strangled, but it's like you are in your fucking shadow. Like you are experiencing your dark side, so to speak.
well, maybe that is the devil.
Exactly.
You know,
Power of Christ compels you.
Going back to the idea of Baphomet and the sort of duality, but the sort of duality in oneness of good and evil is we all have the capability for good. We all have the capability for evil. You know, it's not quite so fine of a line of, I mean, you can draw certain lines with certain people of, we can all agree that Adolf Hitler was pretty much an evil fuck. But he also loved dogs.
German dogs.
Only German shepherds.
Yeah.
And if it was an Israeli dog, if it was a Jewish dog, absolutely not. Fuck that dog.
Also,
but if it was
that
a German
dude had
dog,
syphilis and his brain was rotten.
Totally.
So,
and he was on methamphetamines. He was on cocaine. He was on speed. He was on all these. And if you really go deep into like the potential occult influence into the Nazis, they were taking incredibly high doses of psychedelics, literally potentially stopping people's hearts for periods of time while, filling them up with intense psychedelics so they could cross over into, the other realm where all of these beings
cross the
exist.
veil or whatever. Yeah.
But what was I getting to? This idea of people, or really anything, being wholly good or wholly evil doesn't seem to line up and doesn't seem to make sense. Like nobody's perfect and nobody is 100% flawed. And that's why something like the Song of Ice and Fire books are such a cool sort of narrative of that idea of there is no one singular good character. There is no one singular bad character. And that's one of the flaws that people talk about with, like, not even a flaw, but one of the criticisms, I guess, of like Tolkien's writing, of like everyone on the good side is totally good. And every single orc is an absolute, atrocious evil monster. Where, Game of Thrones and A Song of Ice and Fire, they sort of explore a little bit more of the nuance that is just part of what we are and the world that we live in. Everything is nuance. And then that brings into sort of just, I don't know, I don't want to get into like politics, but that's a lot of our sort of political nature in this country nowadays, is wanting everything to be black and white and not wanting to focus on nuance. And to me, so going back to what we were saying before of, what good are these books being passed around the world without having somebody of actual wisdom to give context to these words? So if we want to just have, like, we can Google anything, but that doesn't mean that we're going to necessarily have the wisdom to figure out the subtext and the context and the nuance that's involved in everything in life. Because life is fucking complicated. It's a million factors.
The epitome of that is the abuse of like social media and all the people that just read whatever they see and take it literally, regardless of any sort of context or self, research to verify that people are taking advantage of that, and how easy it is to sway the minds of the many, just by throwing some online bullshit campaigns. People start, losing their shit and believing craziest kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It's just taking advantage of the lack of, discipline and clarification that you need to
if
get
you get
information.
if you get one sheep to run off the cliff, the flock will follow.
Goddamn lemmings. And now we're in this weird place where it seems people are having to be more and more careful about their words.
Yeah, totally.
And it seems lots, words are being not weaponized. What am I trying to fucking say?
Demonized?
Way too great. What's that?
Demonized?
No. Like,
I think I know what you're getting at. I think the idea of it used to be actions speak louder than words, whereas now maybe more words speak louder in the public sphere than actions do, where words are taken with much more gravity, where even if you just use the wrong language to describe
and
something.
I like what you said about like the losses of nuances and the risks that impose, because it's like Black Lives Matter has a lot of good assets, good points to its movement, and it's making known the shitty relationship between cops and the Black communities in America. But also there's some crazy intense people who are so angry and fueled, and they're becoming like these kind of Marxist organizations within the movement. And so it's like you can't say one thing or the other. And so it's like, and now with like cancel culture and things like that, it's like, I think there should be, I don't know if police should be defunded, but I think it should be reallocated and refocused on way better situations than they have. And they should definitely demilitarize the fucking cops. But at the same time, it's like for one bad cop, there's probably 3 or 4 pretty good cops. And so it's like, for me to say something like that, somebody could point at me and say I'm a fucking racist. And so it's like, where's the nuances there?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, absolutely. And it almost becomes sort of a branding issue of saying defund the police, essentially get rid of police completely. That's not a smart idea. And like you said, all these sort of Marxist, communist, even just like a lot of the Marxists don't really understand what Marxism really is. They're both Marxist.
Neo-Marxists.
They consider themselves both Marxist, but then also anti-government, which is just, that's ass backwards. Marxism is complete control of, the government having complete control. Yeah, like you were saying, you have to be very tricky with the words that you use, regardless of what the intent behind them is, which is very strange. Because to me, intent behind the words you use means so much more than just the actual, the sounds that you make out of your mouth. Like,
there's so much bullshit nowadays. It's, everyone's saying like completely opposite things of what is really going on or what they mean. And it's so like the political theater in general, and even beyond politics, everyone is expecting such crazy, entertaining news feed items that you only hear about the crazy shit or the bad shit because it makes the headlines, and that's what Danny said, like for every, bad cop, there's like a handful of good ones, but them doing their job, properly isn't really a headline item nowadays. You know what I mean? So like having a lot of good things with lack of reporting just makes the bad things or the crazy things feel that much more prominent.
Well, I mean, the good things that don't get reported, I mean, like they don't get reported because controversy is what brings in eyeballs. And now that our news sources are essentially entertainment and they're funded by advertisers, if they're not talking about the hot button topic of the issue, or if they're not saying something that's sort of galvanizing or, you know, extreme, or something that's going to actually garner attention, then nobody's going to watch. And then that escalates and it escalates and it escalates. And then now you have the world that we live in today, where and also people are so afraid of being offensive that so many people won't speak their mind on certain topics for fear of being called, you know, racist or homophobic or whatever. Whereas if you have to be able to offend people potentially in order to think about things, you know, like to really truly ponder and think about what's going on in the world and really take a good deep look at it, you're never gonna not offend somebody if you're
I think
saying some real stuff.
the gray area is
And
hard
it's
to
not
define.
your fault that someone's offended.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
the difference between offensive and oppressive, right? It's like, when is it beyond just annoying and it's like actually hindering someone's ability to like live a
That's a
normal
good point.
life?
Yeah.
But it's a gray area, and I think that's the hardest part, is like people that are
Nuance.
super assholes that are, you know, berating people every day. Like, that's still verbal, but it's kind of crossing the line into oppressive, right? Whereas
And then,
one off comment here or there is, you know, maybe just meant to make you think. Like, shouldn't really, you know what I mean? That's a hard line to draw, though.
and then it's really strange with the political system, how it's getting increasingly polarized. So if you are a Republican, you're also associated with neo-Nazism and racism. And, if you're a Democrat, you're easily more associated with fucking woke culture and cancel culture and all of that. And so it's like,
Or Antifa.
the teams are getting so polarized. There's the middle ground, the nuances are getting lost. And it's just like this sea of bullshit. It's fucking stupid.
Can't we all just get along?
Dude, we got to dose the nation.
Dose
Right?
the nation. You know, the CIA actually did that way back in like the 50s. They put LSD into like water supplies of cities just
No,
to
they
see what
didn't.
happens. That's a
No,
that's
I doubt it. No
You can
way.
look it up. You can look it up, bud.
All right, I'll look it up.
Everyone's like, remember that night back in the 50s?
No,
When
like
we all
legitimately,
tripped off?
the CIA did crazy stuff with just, you know, the Harvard experiments, which apparently, what's his name? Ted Kaczynski, the Unabomber, took part in, where they did experiments, and the British did this as well with some of their military soldiers, where they just, without telling them, gave them a bunch of LSD just so they could research what the effects are. And the CIA was doing it. It's called Project MK Ultra is one of them. There's a couple other projects that I can't remember off the top of my head right now, where they're essentially trying to create a mind control or a truth serum like solution. And there were times where they just put LSD in the water supply of a town just to see what would happen. So yeah, dosing the people. I think we already tried that. Didn't work out super well. Because then we get the Unabomber.
I mean, could you imagine if you're like driving to work and then all of a sudden you're like starting to trip and you're just, because you're drinking like 3 gallons of water and you're just, well, you drank like an Algene. But I guess, anyways, never mind. Wait, so MK Ultra they were torturing and brainwashing people with the use of hallucinogenics?
Not necessarily torturing them or not necessarily even brainwashing them, just doing it to sort of study. Let me look it up real quick so I have a look.
Yeah, I think that those were side effects.
Yeah.
You know, of it. But I think the objective was, like Brian said, was, you know, a truth serum or some sort of mind control. You know, to see if, like, what the level of control with these substances would give you over another person.
Yeah.
Well, and also they used it a lot for interrogation techniques, sort of as the truth serum. So, like, basically trying to figure out a way that if they captured a Russian spy, they could just give him this, this cocktail of chemicals, and get all of the. This all happened in the Cold War, when it was basically a war of information of who can get more information on the other team. Let's see here. Just a quick about on Wikipedia. Project MK Ultra is the code name to an illegal or given to an illegal program of experiments on human subjects that were designed and undertaken by the U.S. Central Intelligence Agency. That's on Wikipedia, so you know that's true. Oh, we don't need to get into that. Yeah, it was officially sanctioned in 1953, reduced a little bit in the 1960s. So basically, the whole idea is sort of Albert. I just said his name earlier in this podcast. Albert Huxon, the inventor of LSD, created it. Didn't know what he did. He ate a huge dose of it. Rode his bicycle around town. That's the whole story. That's why.
Day. Yeah.
That's why there's Bicycle Day in San Francisco. And then the CIA got a hold of it and sort of thought, like, okay, maybe we can use this to our advantage in the Cold War. And things escalated pretty rapidly. And they did some pretty atrocious shit. So MK Ultra used numerous methods to manipulate the subject's mental states and brain functions. Techniques included in the covert administration of high doses of psychedelic drugs, especially LSD and other chemicals, electroshocks, hypnosis, sensory deprivation, isolation, and verbal and sexual abuse, in addition to other forms of torture. Like, this is something
America.
This is something that
America.
the CIA did. Yeah.
Fuck yeah. Coming to save the motherfucking day, yeah. Fucking government.
Yeah, so I mean, it's not something that hasn't happened before. And the Tuskegee tests or experiments, that's another fucking wild and crazy thing that the CIA did.
Which one's that?
The Tuskegee experiments were basically, they were testing the effects of syphilis on a black population.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And so they just gave all these people syphilis, and just to see what would happen.
And syphilis fucked you up.
Yeah. And this all kind of harkens back to Joseph Goebbels, the Nazi doctor. Or was it Goebbels or was it Mengele? I think it was Mengele. I think Goebbels was the
Did he come over to America and got like Sanctity or whatever it's called, and then he started running those tests?
No, that's Project. All right, if you really want to go deep into conspiracy things, that's Project Operation Paperclip. That's where we took all of the Nazi scientists and moved them over, and that's Werner von Braun, the head of NASA, was a Nazi scientist, and he used to hang the 6 slowest Jews in his factory to sort of keep up production rates in their rocket factory, and he became the head of NASA. So there's the whole conspiracy theory of, essentially, there's an offshoot government from the Nazi program that moved its way into America, and that NASA is the offshoot government of the Nazis. It's intense and it's weird.
That was really intense.
Yeah. But I want to say, I think it's Mengele was the one who was the Nazi scientist.
Yeah, Goebbels was propaganda, wasn't he?
Yeah, I think I misspoke. I think I said Goebbels. But I think it was Mengele.
It's fucking crazy, man.
What's his first name? It's not Joseph. But it's kind of crazy that, like, we prosecuted all of these Nazis and Nazi scientists for war crimes, yet 20 years later, the CIA is essentially doing pretty much the same kind of stuff and doing testing on these populations. And what Mengele did was absolutely fucking far worse. But that doesn't give the U.S., military and CIA an excuse to perform similar experiments. Like, what Mengele did was off the fucking charts.
Yeah.
I don't know how to spell Mengele's name. Yeah, Joseph Mengele. There we go. There we go. Oh, also, did you know that Hitler only had one ball? That's a fun little factoid.
I wonder what happened to the other one.
The story is that it got bitten off by a goat.
How the fuck did that happen? Was he trying to fuck a goat?
Probably. Also, there's rumors that Hitler had a micropene.
A what?
A micropene.
I believe that.
Little micro penis, and then only one ball.
No wonder he's so aggressive.
Yeah, exactly. You gotta make up for it. Oh, this is the other thing that I heard. Joseph Mengele was so Mengele wasn't okay. I'm going all over the place, but Joseph Mengele is the one who actually ran the concentration camps. And before he became a Nazi and before he joined the Nazi party, he was a chicken farmer. Which, when you look at how they treated the Jews in the concentration camps and like putting them on trains and shit, it's exactly
like
how a chicken farmer would do it. Which
wow.
That's kind of fucking crazy. I should have done some of this research ahead of time, even though I have, but when you look up too many things.
I gotta get out of here soon. I gotta make some trips before 6.
You gotta make some chips?
Trips? No, I gotta go to the one place that sells the buffalo shins for these guys before they close.
All right. Let me see if I can figure out the fucking name of the goddamn doctor was. Not still saying Mengele. I don't know. But they would do experiments on like twins and like
Yeah.
Wow,
man.
And half of them fucking escaped and lived in Argentina until they died. I don't think Mengele was actually captured. I think he died of old age on a fucking Argentinian beach. Oh, and have you seen there's fucking essentially just like German towns in the middle of South America in Argentina and Venezuela. There's whole towns of people who only speak German and proudly show off their fathers and grandfathers' war medals that were that were fucking Nazis. So I don't know if we actually fully defeated the Nazis. They might have some influence today. I don't know.
What's the Marvel's Hydro infiltrates America? Oh, I guess that would be NASA.
Or
yeah.
And Red Skull.
Yeah,
he was a Nazi for sure.
He was a fucking Nazi for sure.
All right. Well,
and on that note,
Nazi for sure.
Nazi for sure, dude. Well, I guess we've been recording for a solid hour and a half. I think that's probably plenty adequate.
I sorry, I didn't have much. I don't know too much about World War II and the conspiracies and much about this, all the where they were at post World War II. So I kind of didn't have much to add to the conversation, but
you added plenty.
I think it went pretty well.
Let's all
go get your fucking shin bones, Charlie.
Yeah, these guys need them. Otherwise, they're going to eat each other.
How old are they now?
7 and 8 now.
Oh, damn. Are they still like super active?
Yep.
Nice. Stronger than ever?
Rolo's, I think, starting to go on the downhill. He's getting some gray hairs. He's slowing down a little bit.
He's
But
plateaued.
he's still a beast.
Okay, nice. Yeah, I gotta bring my dogs out to Colorado so they can all have a party sometime.
Right. What are your dogs' names? They're all the
Freya and Loki.
Norris. Oh yeah, Freya and Loki.
Yeah.
I thought you had 3.
Just 2.
Oh.
Yeah.
They got confused with the other fucking 17 dogs that were up at fucking
Yeah.
parents' place.
Yeah, there's a shit ton of those fucking dogs.
All right, boys.
All right.
The fucking boys are back in town.
Even though we're technically not back in town.
Yeah, he's
not far away from each other.
yeah.
Hey, this is.
I watched A Knight's Tale last week. Still holds up
Oh yeah.
What's his name?
with Heath Ledger.
Yeah, Heath.
Yeah.
And then what's the redheaded British dude's name?
I don't know. He
He's
crushes
always
it
been-
in that movie.
Yeah,
He's always been so funny in every fucking movie.
He has this new
What is
show
his
and it
name?
sucks so much dick.
Really?
Yeah, he's like
It's a
supposed to
bummer.
be an alien on the planet. It sucks.
Oh,
It's real bad.
just like Lucifer, just a giant dramatic fall from grace.
Yeah.
And with that, I think we're gonna end out.
Gingers
this
don't have
episode.
souls. He couldn't fall from grace in the first
That's
place.
true. Much like the vampires, gingers do not
Yeah.
have souls. All right, boys. Charlie, Danny, thank you for doing this. This was fun.
Yeah.
Have his
And,
job.
yeah, we'll catch everybody later. Fucking peace, guys.